Hi everyone, welcome back to CAT125R. Here we are in week 2. I'm really pleased with the way things went in week 1. I've enjoyed getting the chance to chat with some of you over email. It sounds like your section meetings are going well and you guys are doing a great job figuring out the technology for the course and how we will be meeting as a group and working with one another over the message boards. So thank you so much for all your hard work this week, and I'm excited to really get moving now that we've got some of those first technical hurdles figured out. So let's get started. First, a quick note. I know it can be difficult sometimes to read the detail on these slides when you're in the small Zaption window inside the course website, inside Canvas. So I just wanted to make sure you know that you can play these Zaption videos, both my introduction videos and the other course lectures in full screen by clicking on the icon that's indicated by the arrows here on the slide. Okay. So what we'll be talking about today, here's a little overview. First, I want to just give you a grading breakdown for the course. I didn't get to do that last week. I'm sure by now you've all had a chance to look at the syllabus and the assignments, so you have a sense of that. But I wanted to make sure we talked about it in this lecture as well. We're going to talk about a rhetorical view of the critical selfie assignment, continuing our discussion from last week about what is rhetoric and some terms we'll be using in this course. Next, we'll talk about feedback and collaboration, which is the focus of your readings and lectures for this week. And then we'll take a look at what's coming up in the class, what you'll be expected to do this week. So the grading breakdown. Your biggest chunk of your grade comes from your longer writing assignments. The personal statement assignment, which is what we're working toward right now with your upcoming Piazza posts, is worth 20% of your grade. The next assignment you'll be working on is as a speech, an expertise speech, also worth 20% of your grade. And your final major assignment in the course is a collaborative curation assignment worth 10% of your grade. A big chunk of your grade also comes from the participation elements of this course, which include your smaller writing assignments. These are the Piazza posts you've already started. Those are worth 15% of your grade. That's for your own contribution to Piazza. You're also expected to respond to your peers' Piazza posts. We're asking you to respond to 3 posts a week. That's worth 15% of your grade. Your peer reviews and drafting is worth 10% of your grade. We'll explain that in more detail as you start to turn in rough drafts for your longer assignments. Your attendance and participation in the weekly section meetings is also required and worth 10% of your grade. And finally, your responses to the weekly lectures, to the Zaption videos, is worth 10% of your grade. So this grading breakdown is available in the course syllabus and also on the assignments page in Canvas. And if you have questions about due dates, those are available in those same places, on the assignments page, in the syllabus. And then I've also posted a downloadable / printable calendar for the course under the introduction module. And that explains the breakdown of the due dates for the longer assignments, for the drafts, for the Piazza posts, and also when you need to be viewing and responding to the lectures. So make sure you take a look at that if you have any questions about when things are due. I wanted to start off this lecture today with a quotation from a scholar of writing studies named Don Murray. He says that writing is primarily not a matter of talent, of dedication, of vision, of vocabulary, of style, but is simply a matter of sitting. The writer is a person who writes. So I like this idea of for this course, the idea of a writer being a person who writes, because I think it reminds us that you all are already doing a great deal of writing and communicating, and you've been taking great strides toward becoming writers through the work you've done in your classes, your lower division classes, and your work in your major. So this process is ongoing, and it's something that is going to take time. So I wish I could say, here's the one thing you need to do to become a great writer, and once you do that thing, you've got it down. But it just doesn't work that way. So The way we improve as writers is through practice and by doing a lot of writing. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this class. A lot of writing, a lot of communicating. You'll write in formal and informal environments. And I would add to this Don Murray quote the idea that a writer is also a person who writes in a context and within a community of writers. So that idea of context and the resulting feedback is what we're going to be focusing on today. In last week's lecture, we talked about some vocabulary related to rhetoric. I wanted to add into the mix this definition of rhetoric from a rhetorical scholar, Andrea Lunsford. She says rhetoric is the art, practice, and study of human communication. We'll be working on all three of these dimensions of rhetoric in this class, and you've already started doing that with your critical selfie assignment. I have so enjoyed reading the critical selfie posts. I've responded to all of the posts that are up on the site. So if for some reason you didn't get a response from me, let me know and I'll go back and make sure I get a chance to read and respond. You guys have done a wonderful job thinking about how we construct identities online for different contexts. And it's clear to me that you all are already thinking rhetorically when you think about how you present yourself online. It's also clear to me that you are, as a group, really invested in the idea of a social network and the idea of a classroom community. I've noticed that most of the critical selfie posts have been viewed by nearly half the class. So that's really great to see that you are all interested in what one another is saying, and you've already also started replying to one another with some really insightful and helpful commentary. We'll talk more about that kind of feedback in just a minute today. I want to think about the work you did on the critical selfie assignment by using the vocabulary of the rhetorical triangle. This might be something you've seen in other classes, other writing classes, or maybe it's not, and that's fine too. But this is really a useful lens for us to use in this class, both when we're thinking about how texts work and when you're producing your own writing and your own communication in this class. So the first idea is that all communication takes place within a context. And this is something we emphasize in that critical selfie assignment, right? You were given multiple contexts to think about how you would present yourself. When we're thinking about an act of communication, one of the most common things we might think about is the message, right? What is it that you're trying to say? We might also think about that as the purpose of a piece of communication. We're thinking about the rhetor. We talked about this term last week. This is the communicator, the writer, the speaker, the creator, and the audience, right? Who or what group of people are you addressing? Within that triangle, we have the choices that a rhetor makes in order to communicate the purpose or message, and we also have the expectations of an audience. Right? What are they used to seeing? How, as a rhetor, might you want to align yourself with those expectations or challenge those expectations in order to produce a desired effect? You've begun the process of thinking with the lens of the rhetorical triangle with the critical selfie assignment. I wanted to talk about how we can use this triangle to analyze the work you did in the critical selfie. So here is the same rhetorical triangle completed with the context of the selfie assignment. So here we have a context of piazza. We have a purpose or message of creating dialogue, building community. The rhetor in this case is you all, right? And then the audience, we have multiple audiences. We have the original poster, right? Whoever wrote the piece in the first place. We have peers, TAs, instructor, right? So even in a kind of confined environment or confined context like piazza, we're still thinking about various audiences and the varied expectations that those audiences might have. The focus of your lecture material this week is on feedback, and you've started the process of providing feedback for one another with the Piazza Post. In your reading for this week, Anthony Atkins discusses strategies for successful collaboration online. These strategies are going to be especially useful for you as you start working on the final assignment in the course, the collaborative curation assignment. But for now, I'd like you to think about collaboration in terms of active participation via the Piazza posts, via your responses to Piazza posts, and the other forms of feedback that you'll be giving your peers this quarter. In your video lectures this week, Professor Liz Losh from UC San Diego talks about types of feedback. Online feedback that most of us are used to providing is often evaluative, such as likes on Facebook. So other types of feedback that we'll be talking about in this class are corrective feedback. So this is the kind of feedback where you mark errors or say what's wrong with a piece of writing. Evaluative feedback in a classroom setting is typically associated with a grade, or like I said, something like likes on Facebook. Or facilitative feedback. Feedback that motivates revision. You'll learn a lot more about these three types of feedback in your lectures this week. But I wanted to say here that we really want to emphasize facilitative feedback on Piazza. Our goal here with that facilitative feedback is to encourage more activity and to motivate you all to continue to write and revise. In addition to your lectures from Professor Losh on feedback, you'll also hear from UCI anthropologist Mimi Ito on communities of practice. She discusses affinity groups as communities of practice, and you'll be able to think about as you're viewing this video how people use online groups to refine, craft, and support rhetorical activities. So as you're thinking about rhetoric and feedback and collaboration, this is all partly in service of heading into your first longer writing assignment, the personal statement assignment. So I want you to make sure that you're familiar with this prompt, because the shorter Piazza assignments that you'll be doing in the coming weeks are meant to support this assignment. So you're kind of doing some pre-writing for this longer assignment with the upcoming Piazza posts. So what you'll be doing here is writing a personal statement aimed at a particular audience, such as a graduate school, professional school, or a scholarship organization. So the goal with this personal statement is to have a coherent focus that develops a particular theme with concrete details to support the professional or academic portrait of yourself that you are describing. So what you'll be working on this week: the Piazza post that's going to help you start defining the rhetor for the personal statement assignment, What I Learned in College, due October 4th by 6 p.m. You'll also want to complete all readings and Zaption tours for Unit 2, no later than October 11th by 6 p.m. Ideally, though, you'll have familiarized yourselves with the reading and lecture material before your section meetings. You also want to make sure to respond to your peers' Piazza posts, the What I Learned in College. And looking ahead, right, the following Sunday, What I Learned Out of College Piazza post. So when you're looking on Canvas at the assignments and the units, just know that those units start on Sunday. So you want to look ahead to the following week so you can see what's coming up if you're someone who's used to thinking about your week starting on a Monday. Another reminder I wanted to make sure you were aware of is that there is an app, a mobile app for Piazza. So you can look at posts, write posts, and respond to posts on your phone or tablet. It's a really great app, and I use it a lot myself to keep in touch with all of you on Piazza. So I'm looking forward to the week ahead and to seeing what you all have to say on Piazza this week. Don't hesitate to get in touch with any questions.